What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy the D here, aka the captain of the Thunder God Pirates, and you know what it is. It is Sunday, January 17th, I believe. Damn, January 16th. I was off by a day. But anyway, currently it is snowing here in Georgia, and you know the one thing that heats me up? One Piece. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. One Piece, chapter 1037, Drunken Dragon Bugura. And yet again, we, cover page, yet again, just gonna cover this really quick. We see that Sexiness Reiju with Ichiji sitting on a pillar, with Judge sitting there, was standing there next to him with the spear. I guess they're sitting on, looking out over the ocean or the battlefield in one of the Germa castles, you know, the giant Dindin Mushies. Yeah, thinking we might see some Germa pretty soon. Potentially. Or get a little bit of information about what happened to them after they left Totland. But the chapter immediately starts in the flower capital of Wano, where everybody is still partying. And it's looking like the party's about to end. Yet again, unbeknownst to them of what's happening, and even some of the people there going ahead and they're, you know, commenting on the state of things. You know, one guy's talking about how he is to live in the country, like, oh, it's just pain, but tonight it's all right. And, you know, he's yelling at Orochi, even though Orochi's not there. And even some other people like, man, you know, shut up, bro, you don't want to say that. And so then we see a mother and child painting, well, writing on their skyboats, pretty much their wishes to their ancestors that they hope will come true, you know. And it's really hard to look at this, because one woman, she's like, I hope I can feed my children. And one kid is like, he wants to see his mommy. And it's like, bruh, I hope Orochi gets it in the worst way, because this shit was unnecessary. You could have, hell, he could have robbed them and left. He could have took the royal coffers and stash and shit and just left. But you stayed and you made everybody's lives miserable, because your family may have gotten done dirty, but still, your grandfather did what he did. Even though it's a cycle of hatred thing, I'll talk more about that another time. But anyway, so we cut back to the top of Onigashima, and boy, we get some Kaido versus Luffy, and man, this shit is going all the way up. So Luffy is still huffing and puffing, and then the next panel, we see Kaido drinking a whole ass bottle of sake, and Luffy's like, hey yo, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? Are we not trying to knock each other's shit loose? So Kaido then goes on to say, because he's having fun. And Kaido really, genuinely says, hey, you want one? You know, they're having the fire festival in the city. You know, I can go get you one if you want to. And then he goes on to kind of pontificate, like, hey, you know, they have the fire festival, same day we have our festival. You know, Feast, you and your goddamn friends just had to come here to ruin. And then we see some phases of Kaido drunk. This man starts laughing his whole ass off. And Luffy's like, this drunk motherfucker right here. And Luffy just charges in like, okay, cool, whatever. Just don't use that as an excuse when I beat you. And so Kaido, in his drunken stupor, is like, don't be stupid. I would never make myself weaker. And he says it in the middle of a laugh, because Kaido's laugh style is whoa, W-O-R-O, whoa. And so then he goes on to say, as Luffy's preparing another rock gun, that he's drinking as a sign that he has accepted Luffy. And then he goes on to say, while he's laughing, now Luffy's attacking him, this motherfucker still doubled over using his kanabo as like a mini cane, like a cane. And he's like, I wonder how long it's been since I fought someone who could truly go toe to toe with me. And then Luffy launches the rock gun, but Kaido dodges. Now, I know it's not something we're used to hearing, because Kaido, if we were to assign him a class, he'd be a tank. Like, this whole time, he's been mostly tanking shit. I don't think we've seen him dodge yet. Well, up until now. So he dodges. He bends back and hits a Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. Dodges Luffy's attack. And then we hear a new attack. Drunken Dragon Bagura. And he raises his Kanabo above his head with the black lightning of Conquerors above it. And then he brings it down. Ragnaraku. Yet again, Ragnarok. And hits Luffy over the head, smashing his face into the ground. So below, where the battle's still happening, inside the performance hall, inside the dome, everybody notices that there's a huge crack in the roof. But, you know, nobody's really... I guess they kind of forgot, like, what the fuck's happening. Because they're worried about, A, the battle, B, the roof is on fire. So they're like, okay, first this bitch is burning down, now the roof might collapse on it. Like, this is bullshit. So then... We go back up to the Skull Dome, and Luffy is in pain. Like he's kind of writhing in pain, holding his head, because that shit hit him head on. And so Kaido then transforms, because this whole time he was in his hybrid, well, he was in his human form, then he transformed to his hybrid form. Now he's in his full dragon form, and he's like, as funny as this might be, the castle and island are half destroyed already. They're useless to me now. But then he starts talking like a drunk. I'm so miserable. Can't even keep one castle intact. Luffy, while this is happening, is still in pain, holding his head, bleeding. Like shit, this hurts. He's tough. So yet again, Kaido, full dragon, drunk as fuck. I'll have to rebuild it, I guess. But it took 5 years to make it in the first place. And this panel, it says drowning in his sorrows. So we're seeing Kaido in different phases of his drunkenness. So Luffy gets up and starts charging at him again. He's like, okay, I'm getting sloppy. And then Kaido, yet again, still in his dragon form, just swaying like a fucking drunk balloon, is like, I gave it everything I had. But it just wasn't meant to be. So as Luffy tries to attack him, he uses another technique, Dragon Twister, Demolition Gust, which is able to repel Luffy. So then he transforms back into his hybrid form, and he starts crying, "Stay away from me. Just leave me alone, you idiot." Tears in his beer. So then he cocks back, ready to fight again. Boo. This is what happens to people who don't take a hit. Thunder. So Luffy, yet again, it looks like he goes gear second. And he's like, okay, this is throwing me off. And then so Kaido goes ba, like yet again, in Bagada. And Luffy jumps, and he jumps, flips. He lands on the Kanabo itself, and then he gives Kaido a bat kick, stamping him in the face. And you can see that light, like even after he makes contact, and he's flipping away because he like hits him, and then he has to jump off Kaido's Kanabo. You can see the black lightning of Conquerors is on his foot, and this man is in his ass, boy. So then Kaido, who is bent backwards, he is knocked over. He's bent. He like kicked him, and he bends backwards, and he comes back with a headbutt. Like, well, before he comes back with a headbutt, he uses his tail to grab Luffy's leg. And pull him back, and Luffy yet again catches and is like, okay, you're not gonna catch me off guard. And then they both use Conquerors infused headbutts without even hitting. And technically this time Luffy loses because they don't touch, but Luffy's blown away. And he even comments as he's being blown away, like, there's no way. His haki is getting stronger. Like, after everything he's been through, from fighting the Scabbards to fighting Zoro, for fighting Luffy with Law, Kid, Killer, and Zoro, to fighting Luffy, then to fighting Yamato, and now fighting Luffy again. His haki is increasing. And so Kaido then goes on to say, just when I'd finally gotten good and drunk, you're going to sober me up. He uses blast breath while in his hybrid form, drunken rage. So Luffy's able to dodge that. and he prepares his attack. Gum gum, and as he's coming, Kaido's preparing his attack as well. Luffy rock, Kaido Kundali, Luffy Gatling, Kaido Dragon Swarm, excuse me. So it's Gum Gum Rock Gatling versus Kundali Dragon Swarm, and their blows meet in the middle with Kaido, and it goes on for a while until Kaido finally lands a hit on Luffy to his face, to his chin, and Luffy finally lands a punch on Kaido's left cheek, blowing them both away. But they continue with Luffy using, I guess, rock elephant stamp to kick Kaido in the stomach, causing Kaido to cough up blood. Now, here's where the interesting part of this chapter comes in. We cut over, not to another part of Wano, rather to the sacred Marijois. Well, sacred land of Marijois on the Red Line. And we hear a voice saying, "This year's reverie is simply accursed. Oh, let it go already." And we come to the highest power in the world, the 5 Elder Stars. It's what is unfolding in Wano that makes matters pressing now. Who could have imagined the battle would become this intense? And then another states, "If we strike, it should be now. I presume we have Nico Robin in custody already." Another, "When Kaido and Big Mom are involved in the fight, death could easily come for anyone, which makes it the perfect cover to eliminate inconveniences." Then we cut over to the sea near Wano, to where someone on the radio is giving a command. "All ships remain on standby." What is it? And then one of the lookouts says, "There's a huge shadow up ahead." Someone on the radio, "What is it?" "I don't know, an island?" And then we cut back to the Elder Stars. "No, that's impossible. That fruit is only a legend now, even to us. It has not awakened for centuries upon centuries." And then another, "Then why would the world government bother to give that one specific devil fruit another name?" And finally, as the marine ships are being pursued by Zunisha, excuse me. "It's to erase that fruit's name from the annals of history, isn't it?" Chapter end. Okay, so Kaido is, well, let's talk about it. All right, the thing with Kaido is not that uncommon. Like, same thing in Naruto when Lee got drunk, like the drunken style. In Asian cultures, it's, shown, at least through like myth and legend, like some fighters, when they become drunk, they become more efficient. So that trope is being used on Kaido, which it's pretty cool. So his full power is drunkenness, not he's powerful sober, but when he's drunk, that's when he really is able to unleash his full power. But what I want to talk about is this last scene. Now, originally upon reading this chapter, I thought that this scene, they were talking about something about Zunisha. No, I think this, because I thought it was the Elder Stars who were communicating with the Marines on the ships. I don't think so. I think these two things just so happen to coincide, and that's kind of Oda trying to misdirect us. So I thought the fruit that they're trying to erase from the annals of history was something that happened to do with Zunisha. No. My theory, I think it's the Gum Gum fruit. Now that's my initial thought, because hear me out, because there are a couple ways that you could swing this. Well, the reason I say that is because, remember, a few chapters ago, more than a few, but you get my drift. A few chapters ago, we found out from Who's Who that he was part of a convoy that was supposed to be escorting the Gum Gum fruit to some undisclosed location. And Shanks, being Shanks, was able to intercept the convoy and steal it. Now, the reason I think that it might be the Gum Gum fruit is because A, Shanks has some unknown ties to the world government. We don't know, because that's the thing. They had an audience with this man. They didn't send an envoy to where the red hair pirates were and have like a Din Din Mushi conversation. No, he was able to come to the sacred land of Mary Joy. This man was able to go to one of the ports, the red ports, get on a gondola, be ferried up there in secret, by the way. This wasn't something that they they pronounced. During reverie, he was able to go into the Gorosei's chamber in Pangea Castle and hold a conversation with them. So Shanks knows some shit he's not supposed to know. And it's fucking Shanks. So the fact that he and his crew actively sought out that convoy and stole that fruit tells me something. So I think it might be the Gum Gum fruit. My other guess is my other guess says, it could be either the dark fruit that Blackbeard has. But at the same token in time, I'm wondering why would they be talking about the dark fruit unless there's some event that once Wano's over, we're gonna find out that Blackbeard did that's caused them to talk about this, or with it tying into them talking about Wano, it could be Kaido's, the fish fruit, mythical model, Blue Dragon of the East, or Searyu. So yeah, this chapter was pretty good. Like I'm glad we're getting the Luffy versus Kaido fight, but this, and then with Zunisha being there at all, so I'm thinking we might, like, by the end of Wano, we might get to actually know why Zunisha is wandering the world. What did it do that caused it to be set adrift, so to speak? It walks, but to be set adrift, to walk for all time without rest. That's interesting. But we'll have to wait for the next chapter to see if any of this pans out next chapter, which most likely not. Now, unfucking fortunately, we just got off a 2-week break, and guess what Oda does again? Another 2-week break, but he's kind of the GOAT, so we deal with it. So next chapter will be hitting on January 30th. All right, but without further ado, I think it was a pretty good chapter, and I'm telling you, that last scene I'm interested. But let me know what you think in the comments below. This has been your boy, the D20, signing out. See ya.